So, I forgot to start recording earlier today. I should have. What we're doing is we got a. This is a shop building that Eric didn't build. We didn't build the pad, or we didn't build this shop, but Eric ended up having to come back in and fix some things the contractor had messed up on. One of the things was this pad was just not big enough, and it was kind of washing away. I've already got this side pretty much fixed, but this is a bunch of dirt that me and my son last summer, we came over with the dozer and backhoe, and we cut the driveway out wider, and we had some leftover dirt. And what I'm doing, and they've got a hole here we can't fill in because they've got some pipes to connect. I'm not sure what they got going on there, maybe a floor drain or something, but anyway, he asked me if I'd come over and work on this, and it's working out pretty good. I had a little bit of time to do it. He told me, he said, you probably need to get you a skid steer so you can get around that building. I came and looked at it, and I said, well, shoot, that'd take longer with a skid steer than it would a backhoe. So, I mean, I've moved a lot of dirt. I've hauled a lot in here. There's a lot more that's got to go in this area, because you can see there's about 2 foot below the top of the concrete and all the way back down this side. But I'm not going to do much over here because I've got to put a water line in from this corner all the way out to the road, and my pipe's not here, and I don't want to take a chance on it raining and filling my ditch up with mud tomorrow or tonight, because we've got rain chances. We've been getting rain finally, and but I'm going to have to dig a ditch through here, and this is the part he said I couldn't get to, and you really, I mean, I can't drive straight through there. The guy doesn't want us to take any trees out. So I'm going to be able to dig it. I'll have to dig it from as far as I can reach this way, and then go around the other side and dig out that way. So for right now, I'm just kind of filling in these, bringing a little dirt around here and filling in. Putting dirt up against the edges of the house or the shop. It's kind of a barn dominium type deal. This guy has a big motor home. He lives in most of the time, I think, but so he'll have a nice place here when it's all done. But the septic system, I think, will be going out here somewhere. I don't know how they're going to do that. Eric asked me if I wanted to do that, and I said I don't think so, because for one, I don't think I really need to get involved in that. They haven't got the soil analysis back. I don't know what they're going to have on it, but getting the septic tank in there, they're probably going to have a crane. I don't know how they're going to do it without taking any trees out. So, I think it's 1,000-gallon tanks, what they said they was going to use. So, ideally, I kind of think they should have put the septic off on this side of the house, because, well, there's more room over here without taking out trees. But if you put a septic in with roots and tree roots, it ain't gonna last. I don't know how you can't. I guess you can't go against what the homeowner wants, but also all you can do is warn them that this is probably not going to work. Anyway, this is a ditch that me and Ty cut out last year. They haven't got any grass growing on it. I think we had a little bit of topsoil on there when I left it, but probably not much. But anyway, we made most of this big pile of dirt here, so we're getting rid of it back behind the house. I'm kind of surprised how much I've I've used so far, but when you're trying to make a slope off of a drop off, it takes a lot of dirt. Anyway, the backhoe's running good. Little Red's still running. I got her, she hauled me over here today. I haven't done any more on the engine. I've got too much work going on to be messing with rebuilding motors. But anyway, it's pretty dusty. I keep having to wipe the window. It's just the dust is sticking to it pretty badly. But you can see I'm kind of leaving ruts here. But the corner of this building was, I mean, you could see under the slab. So it's not a good thing. So we're trying to get it built up, maybe where it won't settle. I don't know what they built this pad with. I have a pretty bad feeling that they didn't do a very good job on it. But anyway, there's a pretty big drop off over here. And I've sloped a little bit around this end, but I'm gonna go ahead and just add a little bit more back here. So when I'm doing loader work, I do a lot of back dragging. When you're working dirt down to make it look nice, you've got to kind of break it down a little bit. This is pretty decent stuff. It's got some clay in it. It's just a little bit on the wet side, but I use float a lot. When you put your bucket in float, it'll just kind of follow over. If your front wheel hits something, it won't raise the bucket. So when you're going forward, don't use float. I guess you can. Let's see, can you? No. You do a wheelie if you... I knew it would do that. I just wanted to show you. Float works in reverse pretty much only. The weight of the backhoe, if you take the weight off the front of the backhoe and you're pushing forward, it'll just raise the front end up. But when you're doing loader work, you got to remember that your back wheels determine the levelness of your bucket. When you're using the skid steer, it's a rigid system. Everything in it, and everything's pretty close. So it's a little bit easier, probably. But when you're starting to, if you're trying to make a level or a slope cut, start out with where you want your machine. Like this is a pretty good angle to keep our slope. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it down a little bit, so I'll put my bucket flat. I don't have any humps between the bucket and the back tire. Everything's pretty uniform up to there. If I have a hump up here between the bucket and the back tire, it's gonna rock the machine one way or the other, and that's gonna determine my cut. So flatten the bucket out. You can use the indicator, but I usually just look at the top of the bucket. I know about where level's at, and I'll just kind of, I'm not going to raise up and down on the bucket. I'm just going to use my tilt and just kind of use that to adjust my cut. Try to keep the front wheels on the ground. Anyway, that's kind of how I do it. But this, like I say, there's some ruts here. I've added about 2 foot of dirt to the corner of this building here. So, and I think the problem is there's a downspout there, and the dirt I put that on top of is a little bit wet. But I'm okay with it. It's okay. It's better to have it too wet. I think it's probably pushing. Hopefully it's pushing down under the corner of that house, and it'll kind of help hold it up. But anyway, I've got three different types of soil. I got some decent stuff. I got some really good topsoil. I'm not sure where this came from. I almost think the neighbor dumped it on them or something, but That's some really nice topsoil. And then this over here is just kind of a clay. A few rocks in it. It's not too bad though. But it's good to have the dirt on site, so we're not having to haul anything in here. And when we originally stockpiled this, we were talking about, these people were talking about building another house in this area up here, so that's kind of one reason we stockpiled all this dirt. We were looking at, this was going to be our field for a house pad if we built one, but I don't know that they've decided they're not going to build one, but they've just not done it yet. So I might end up using all this dirt, and I probably will, and then they're probably going to turn around and say, yeah, we're ready to build a house pad over here in the trees, but don't kill any trees. Anyway, hey, it's their property. It's beautiful. If they're okay with trees that close to their building, that's fine with me. I honestly wish I had some shade around my house, but there wasn't any trees there when I built, so I didn't really have that option. So I can understand why they want trees. They're pretty. It's peaceful down in here. Anyway, I'm just putting dirt where I think I might need it. After I put the water line in, I'll need some more, I would imagine. But right now I've got some touch-up work up front here to do. And I'm trying to decide whether to do it before I dig the ditch or after, and I'm almost thinking after. So I'm probably going to shut down for the day. It's a little bit early, but I got to go pick up my case tractor. It's over at Eric's house. I had it on a job just down the road from his house, and I was using a box blade. But anyway, I left the tractor there, and I need to pick it up. So I'm not too far from his house. So probably what I'm going to do is leave the backhoe here. In the morning I'm going to bring the pipe over, and then it may be Saturday before I finish this up. Well, tomorrow's Friday, so I might get done tomorrow, I don't know for sure. But any rate, I'll be making another trip with the probably with the pickup. Yeah, I'll be back to pick stuff up sometime, probably Saturday. Anyway, this is a neat place. Beautiful building. They put really nice overhead doors with glass in them. I mean, it's top-notch stuff. Anyway, I'm going to pull around here and park this thing, and oh, I've been working sorry for the yawn, I've been working over in Pryor. I got 3 days in this week. I got home last night about 7:30. And I'm probably going to have to go back next week to do some more. But in Pryor, it's a location where they don't allow picture taking or videos, so I haven't been able to video any of that job. It's a big job. There's a lot of digging. It's just massive amounts of digging. But we've got to run that water line from down there all the way up this driveway to the road, and there's already a water meter set. So I've got my 18-inch bucket. I could probably use a 12, but I found that when you're backfilling, it's almost better to use an 18. That way you can wheel roll it and you can pack it better. But once again, I've got to go around all these trees to get where I need to go. So I'll try to video that tomorrow, maybe. See if we can't get something on it. So just trying to figure out where to park this backhoe at. Probably back here in the trees, but anyway, that's kind of what I'm up to today. But this we widened this ditch out, and probably not quite wide enough, but it was better than it was. But what they're going to end up doing is they're going to pave this all the way up to the road, or the street. But when me and Ty started, that ditch was way over almost to that container, and it, you know, if me and Eric would have gotten involved in this earlier, that building wouldn't be at the bottom of a driveway like that. That's really not a good situation, but it's what they got, and it's what we're going to deal with. Eric did end up putting in a trench drain in front of the shop, or the door, and they've got this concrete sloping back to this side at the top a little bit. It's not a lot, but it's a little bit. So we think it might help, but this drainage ditch is going to make it a little better. And yeah, that's what I'm up to. 9:30. And we're doing back roads because we're a little bit over width. Anyway, I learned this trick from a guy named Jeff Anderson. He said if you take back roads, you can run around without permits. So I guess he's right. I don't know. This is a dirt road in between Stillwater and Coyle Road. I'm just trying to stay off the main highways. I don't normally haul the box blade behind on a truck like this, but I figure it's not that big a deal on back roads. I might find out otherwise. Who knows? Somebody will probably stop me. I might get a ticket. I hope I don't have a wreck. If I had a farm tag, it wouldn't be a big deal. I don't really like taking Little Red down these dirt roads, but I'm only running about 25. Try to keep everything from bouncing apart.